go check us out Monday through Saturdays, 7 p.m. Eastern. The Peasy Show is live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and IG. Join us every week.
This my nigga here.
Jai Guns, he is our resident movie reviewer. And yes, the man is legally blind. The man can't see shit. However, if the man can tell us about...
Hey, it's Peasy, and I got something to say. What's good, YouTubers, Twitch tweeters, and my Facebook fam? Come check us out tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern and every weeknight, Monday through Saturdays, where we go in with you on a new episode. Tonight, it's Talk Back Thursday, where you can come talk to me and I talk.
This my nigga here.
Jai Guns, he is our resident movie reviewer. And yes, the man is legally blind. The man can't see shit. However, if the man can tell us about...
Hey, it's Peasy. And tonight on the Peasy Show, sir, that's right, Talk About It Tuesday, where tonight's topic of the day is the topic at play. Join us tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central for tonight's topic, which is... All right, tonight...
Face. Let's go.
Hey. Let's go.
You know what time it is.
Let's go.
Device, kick off your shoes and grab yourself some popcorn, baby. Cause the Peasy Show is online Monday through Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern. unless I'm blind. Monday, Saturday live, East Coast time, yeah. We on the rise, choose, enjoy the ride. We can choose, motivate minds, like motivation Monday, all up on your life. I make the try, thinking decline, like waste of time. We get the Wednesday where we can ride to new way, music where they hit it, it's right, yeah. Thursday, we don't talk to me. Open mic debate, you can say it's hot today. But I like Saturdays, but I'm on cypher days. You can ride on stage, but you only got 30 minutes on the string. So what you come along with me? You can be a part of me in the biggest team. I call my PT weekly peace. Every weekly on the burner seat. Won't you come join with me? You can be a part of me in the biggest team. I call my PT weekly peace. Every weekly on the burner seat. Talking about it, I want them talking about it. Tell them all around it. Tell them let them talk about it. Talking about it. I want them talking about it. I'ma tell them all around them. Tell them let them talk about it. Talking about it. Come on and talk about it. Tell them all around the world. Let them talk about it. So grab your camera phones and your device. Kick off your shoes and grab yourself some popcorn, baby. Cause the Easy Show is online Monday through Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern, baby. Grab your camera phones and your devices. Kick off your shoes, grab yourself some popcorn, baby. Cause the Easy Show is online, so come and see with us.
Yo, what is good, people? Welcome back, and I appreciate you for all tapping in. Come on in, share this live, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Appreciate all of you. For tonight, we have a talk about it topic. Man. All right. How do we want to start this night topic? I don't know what to say about it because I mean, as I done the research that I attempted to do today to come up with the day's topic, after I told you yesterday I had a topic for you guys,
7:01
so, like,
p.m.
it's just
Bar item.
realizing
YouTube.
all of
Now.
that
Red recents.
and then
Heading.
looking for the right approach to the new conversation tonight. We
YouTube.
want
Now.
you guys to
Indisputable
understand
Dr. Rashad. Ellipsis.
this is real.
Black actress sues after being denied wig for Broadway tour.
Yeah, this is
Attachment.
real. So don't mind me. I'm just checking where I am. I want to see what's the biz. Checking comments. Mhm. Goodness griefus. All right, so while I'm doing all that,
Unconditional love. Incoming. Selected. Missed. Button. 2 of 2.
okay, give me just a second. All right, so check in there, get that set up. Now, what I was really planning on doing tonight, because we have a really good conversation that we would like to tap in with y'all about. And the biggest thing about tonight's topic of conversation is the fact that I realized there's a lot of individuals that are, now as of recently being, diagnosed this way. So I'm gonna let Siri answer the question as far as what the topic is and see if they can come up with a better explanation for our question of the day. Um, all of you guys in the comment section, if you're checking out the description box on YouTube, please do me a favor, answer that comment to the question. Answer with a comment to the question: how do you cope with PTSD? Or do you have PTSD? Do you know someone in your family that suffers from PTSD? It is one of those things.
Now, TikTok, Mr. J Guns JPZ, that do tough. University of Jobs course call. And I am King Creole posted 4 new videos.
Oh, that's good.
That do tough notification.
That's
Gmail.
good to know.
Now,
But-
TikTok, Mr. J Guns JPZ, unconditional love, unconditional notification. Gmail.
Oh,
Now,
Jesus, what are you doing?
unconditional love, recents,
Thank
heading.
you. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to do this like this. Siri, what is PTSD?
Post-traumatic stress disorder is a mental and behavioral disorder that develops from experiencing a traumatic event, such as sexual assault, warfare, traffic collisions, child abuse, domestic violence, or other threats on a person's life or well-being.
Okay. Now, one of the questions I had, because I mean, when you look at that, that gets traumatic in a sense, and those are extremes, very, very extreme traumas that go on or in certain neighborhoods on a regular basis in some places. Siri, what triggers PTSD?
Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, is triggered by a terrifying or shocking event, either experiencing it or witnessing it. This answer is from Talking Change and HSUK.
Thank you for that. Talking Change and HSUK. It really does make a lot of sense when you look at the situation, because it is trauma. There is trauma there. There is big trauma there. You know what I mean? And in the early stages of post-traumatic stress disorders diagnoses, they found that a lot of the people that experience this particular diagnosis are people who have definitely gone through war zones. You know what I mean? Survived explosive devices blowing up nearby or in their vicinity and killed probably a large portion of the people with them. And they were the only survivors. That can cause trauma in a way of such a severity that PTSD is inevitable. Siri, how many people have PTSD in America today?
Okay, I found this on the web for how many people have PTSD in America today. Check it out.
We find... Let me see.
How common is PTSD in adults? National Center for PTSD, February 3rd, 2023, ellipsis. Most people who go through a traumatic event will not develop PTSD. About 6 out of every 100 people, or 6% of the U.S. population, will have ellipsis. PTSD.va.gov.
6% as of February of last year. 6% of the U.S. possibly has PTSD. Okay?
Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. An estimated 3.6% of U.S. adults had PTSD in the past year. Past year prevalence of PTSD among adults was higher for females, 5.2%, than for males, 1.8%. The Ellipsis.
So
nim.nid.gov.
1.8 for men and 5.6 for women. That makes a whole hell of a difference. A lot of women experiencing trauma in the PTSD form, I can understand. Um, I mean, when you're talking about SA or RAPE, it can be very traumatic for a woman to have to sit through or, be a, surviving witness to these things. It is not easy. And
Show Google results.
Name signs of people who may have PTSD.
Okay, I found this on the web for name signs of people who may have PTSD. Check it out.
Post-traumatic stress disorder, National Institute of Mental Health. People who have PTSD may feel stressed or frightened, even when they are not in danger. Not everyone with PTSD has been through a dangerous event. Sometimes. Ellipsis. What is post-traumatic stress disorder, National Institute of Mental Health.
All right.
Funding.
We're looking at information right now currently from the National Institute of Mental Health. Nice. I love this.
Celebrating post-traumatic stress disorder. Heading level 1 or heading level 2. What is post-traumatic stress disorder? Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, is a disorder that it is natural to feel afraid during and after a traumatic situation. Fear is a part of the body's fight or flight response, which helps us avoid or respond to potential danger. People may experience a range of reactions after trauma, and most people recover from initial symptoms over time. Those who continue to experience problems may be diagnosed with PTSD. Heading level 2. Who gets PTSD? Heading level 2. Anyone can develop PTSD at any age. This includes combat veterans and people who have experienced or witnessed a physical or sexual assault, abuse, an accident, a disaster, or other serious events. People who have PTSD may feel stressed or frightened, even when they are not in danger. Not everyone with PTSD has been through a dangerous event. Sometimes, learning that a friend or family member experienced trauma can cause PTSD.
So it's not just for people who have traumatic incidences or near-death experiences or SAs or RAPEs or these type of traumatic incidences that cause extreme stress and duress for people. So I mean, like, the degree of who is PTSD, who has PTSD, how can you account it to dealing with everyday life? You know what I mean? Because it definitely affects that. We're talking now with how people learn to cope with it, because in this day and age we have a large enough 6% of this country is a very large. It's a large enough number to be important.
According to the National Center for PTSD, link, a program of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. About 6 out of every 100 people will experience PTSD at some point in their lives. Women are more likely to develop PTSD than men. Certain aspects of the traumatic event and some biological factors, such as genes, may make some people more likely to develop PTSD.
And now you're saying that this could possibly be genetic as well. Wow. So there's something else you learned that you didn't know about. When you think about the fact that PTSD already gives you a large number of things, extreme anxieties and nervousness, scared, and just having all around terroristic fears about something that keeps playing itself back in your head. Because again, one of the biggest things that I remember when I spoke to one of the people that I knew who suffers from PTSD, and it has a hard time trying to figure things out in life. It has been a challenge, and what the real challenge has been for my friend and his life has been just the fact that as a person who has developed this kind of an illness, it does not give up. It's not relent. It is relentless, um, and it pursues you. It consumes you, and if you don't have the proper channels or people to help you to sort out these issues that this symptom of the diagnosis is causing, then in most cases, a lot of people die suffering from this.
Heading level 2. What are the signs and symptoms of PTSD? Heading level 2.
Let's get into it. Let's talk about that. The signs of PTSD.
Symptoms of PTSD usually begin within 3 months of the traumatic event, but they sometimes emerge later. To meet the criteria for PTSD, a person must have symptoms for longer than 1 month, and the symptoms must be severe enough to interfere with aspects of daily life, such as relationships or work. The symptoms also must be unrelated to medication, substance use, or other illness.
Now, I think I want to hear that again.
Symptoms of PTSD usually begin within 3 months of the traumatic event, but they sometimes emerge later. To meet the criteria for PTSD, a person must have symptoms for longer than 1 month, and the symptoms must be severe enough to interfere with aspects of daily life, such as relationships or work. The symptoms also must be unrelated to medication, substance use, or other illness.
Okay.
The course of the disorder varies. Some people recover within 6 months, while others have symptoms that last for 1 year or longer. People with PTSD often have co-occurring conditions, such as depression, substance use, or one or more anxiety disorders.
Okay. Depression, substance abuse, and one or more anxiety disorders. Now, let me just talk to you about this now. So, in just that definition of the symptoms, I could have PTSD. I probably do. I mean, I am from the hood, so I mean, if you call it that, then you think about the fact that almost every low income individual in America today who lives in poverty stricken neighborhoods where crime is on the all time high every day, and it gets higher and higher as you sit outside and you watch the gun smoke fly by you. You know what I mean? It is traumatic. It is something that devastates the mind. And in these traumatic situations, yes, it could cause these things. So, I mean, I'm here for you on that. I'm definitely here for you on that. And what's really got me here is I feel like we might have a time to get somebody in here to talk about this with me. All right? Because that's really where we're going. Hold on, y'all. We about to get in here. I see you. Don't you do that. Don't be weird. Uh-huh. Hey now. Let's see what we got. We got my peoples coming through. I'm gonna show you what we're doing tonight. Come on, dude. Why do you do this to me? Oh no, you didn't. You went to the wrong user, dude. What are you doing? Okay. Let's go.
All right, I'm in. What's up? What's up? What's up? Why does it say me though? It's like 3 of us here. What's going on? I don't hear anything. Is it my phone? I can't hear you, man. I can't hear you. You have to unmute yourself. The mute button. I got it. It's not me. I'm mute.
Is it me? No.
All right.
Can you
I
hear
can hear
me?
you now. Oh,
Myron,
no.
you have
I
to
heard
unmute
myself. Yeah, for some reason I can't hear you. You're still on mute. I see your mouth moving, so something's there.
Yeah. I
What's
thought
going
it
on?
might be mine.
Oh, there's another person on here, right?
Yeah.
Can you hear him?
No, he's got it muted. I thought it
got
was
you, I
my phone.
got you.
There
That's
he
why I
There
goes.
thought
you
I put the
go.
damn
Yeah, I
mic
was
on.
I just
like,
heard
I
me,
thought it
and I
was
was like,
my
is that me?
phone.
What the hell?
So guys, I'm
Right, that's what I
sorry.
was thinking. I was like, damn, what happened?
I apologize. I am
Status
very
bar
much
item.
I am very much
Swipe
not
down
tax
with 3
savvy.
fingers to
And the
reveal.
second
You know
thing
what's so
about
funny?
this
That
is the
her
fact
voice is
that
similar
With
to
3
me, so I
fingers
thought
to
I was
reveal
hearing
the control
myself.
center.
Oh.
I was like, am I telling myself I can't hear
So-
myself? What the hell?
right.
Wait, why am I repeating shit?
Welcome by everybody, ladies. I just want to welcome you guys. I do want to introduce you. Relly, this is my lovely lady, Adriana.
Hi.
Adriana, this is Relly, my best friend.
Hi, Adriana. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right. So tonight we're talking about PTSD. We went through the rundown of series explanations, and the National Institute for Mental Health gave us a definition of what they determined as PTSD. It is also stated that from the previous information we retrieved from Siri, she also gave us information stating that 6% of the US, meaning 1.4%, and another 5.6% of women have PTSD in America. And that's a current study as recent as February of last year. That was the updated established account. So with that, and we also went through a couple of symptoms, which very much made me more concerned as to why I'm not diagnosed with PTSD, because of the simple fact I just realized the main symptoms: depression, substance abuse, and multiple, if not one or more, anxiety issues are the symptoms. So when you think on that, right, and you look at all of that, consider the fact that that could mean a lot of people, especially being that depression is something that comes in a lot of ways. Like, a lot of people suffer from depression. A lot of people have, you know what I mean, depression that can really drive you to a place of darkness where you're using, or you choose to use to cope. And instead of it giving you the coping mechanism, it gives you an increased level of anxiety. You know what I mean? Where you're nervous and you're jumpy at things, or you're just all around like low and high bipolar almost attitude, like ready to at a moment's notice. Because a lot of people, they have determined, have partaken in the situation of when they are diagnosed, or if they don't realize that this is part of the symptoms that come in, they tend to lash out, but my question tonight, since we're on it, and I got both of you ladies here with us tonight, the conversation's question is, how would you cope? How do you cope with PTSD?
So I am definitely the queen of PTSD and depression. I mean, my whole life has been ridiculous. I am diagnosed. with both. So it's kind of crazy to living with it majority of my life. It's really about just wait, hold on a second. I got Chrome acting up. My mother's calling. What happened here? It's really about just learning how to cope within the whole machine. So life is going to give you all type of things that's happening. And you know, a lot of people that know me, they know me as a musician. If I can get back to your screen, okay. They know, you know, my name is Relia. It's nice to meet everybody that's on the Peasy show. Also the other guests as well. Adriana was
Yes,
right.
Adriana.
Yes.
But yeah, Adriana, I had the same question. So I mean, I'm gonna
I
ask you.
know. I was just
wanted to see what.
my kids were wilding out, so I didn't want it to be echoing.
Okay, Adriana.
understand.
So um, is inevitable. It's gonna happen.
Definitely.
Right.
And they
I
say
think
it
it's
like
all the
they
way
say
that
it.
you deal with it too.
Uh,
I do. I
that's
think
just
that all of it is the way that you handle it and cope with it by yourself.
Not charging.
So there are a lot of coping ways though.
that's it.
Like so me
Yeah.
myself, you know, full time I'm a full time property manager. I have two children, in a 16-year relationship, but that we broke up, we came back together, you know, moved from state to state within the 18 months, lost like $23,000, you know, in the middle of a court case with my ex. It's, you know, that's some ways, okay, life is gonna give me all that stress from all those things happening. But somebody who's just on a daily basis living their life can also be a person that is, you know, affected by this. This is not
Right.
something that you need a
And
bunch
just
of things to
hearing these
happen to you
stories,
to have
it
PTSD. It's literally like earlier I was talking to Jay Guns, and he had a very small situation that he had in his own thoughts and training. And this is why I'm a good friend to him. He's like a brother to me because, like I always tell everybody, he may not be able to see, but he can see and a lot emotionally with people, and he can help you with great advice as a mentor. So me being a mentor and him being a mentor as well, sometimes we reach out to each other when we're at the point where our hair is going to fall out, you know, a freaking head is going to explode because life is just giving a bunch of drama. And the best thing is you always want to have a connection with a person that can relate to you, that can discuss, you know, like confidentially give you some great advice. My suggestion is find a good outlet. You know, if you like music, start to create music. If you like to create poetry, do that. If you like artistry, like artwork, and like to paint, and you find your outlet. Find your outlet. If it's spending time with your children and organizing things for them to do after work or before work, then that's what you got to do. You have to find your way to peace. Peace is not something that's going to come very easily to anyone. It's really like find your medium, and
right.
that's what I. That's
You
Oh,
cut out,
something
sis.
happened. Yeah, her video went gone and
Her signal
everything.
drop. Her signal sounds like it's getting choppy over there. She might have just got a call too, but
Right, I was just
we'll get her
waiting to
back.
see so she could just finish. Yeah.
But that's the thing for me. Like I can understand. Like it's hella traumatic to go through things, and then one of the notes that I noticed in that article I was reading was that it stated that you don't even have to have experienced a traumatic situation in order to be give or to be diagnosed with
No, when it
PTSD.
said that it's
You could have
genetics,
heard about
meaning
this situation from other people.
right. And when they say it's genetics, it means like you could have anxiety disorders and then something
Right.
traumatic happens to you that you develop PTSD because not everybody gets PTSD from shit that happens.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like the way that I deal with the trauma and the way you deal with the trauma may not affect us the same way,
Completely
even if
different.
it's the
Right.
same trauma. So, you know, there's different, that's what I was saying earlier when you were asking me about it. Like there's different stages of trauma. So just to go off and say, oh, I have PTSD, it's more serious than that.
Right. Hold on. I'm about to get Relly back in
And
here.
6% of veterans have PTSD. That's a lot. And then when you were saying that that you have developed substance abuse and everything. Yeah, of course you do after something traumatic. You try to figure out coping mechanisms. And if you don't know how to cope
Right.
healthy wise, then then of course you're going to resort to something else, which is going to turn into something else. Because if I start using heroin or something, of course now I'm going to be paranoid and have anxiety because now I'm a drug addict.
So, talking about that particular, I'm sorry, I don't know what the hell happened to my phone. It's retarded as hell tonight. But
Well, we
talking
waited for a
about,
minute
We
so you
got
could
you
come back
back.
and
That's all that
finish.
counts. Right.
so I'm sorry about that.
That's
I
okay.
don't know. The aliens took my phone for a minute. But like what you're talking
Right.
Don't
about with
say
the people
that because
now,
I
I have,
want them.
yeah, like, I know so many people that when it comes to substance is just a channel that people choose when they are suffering from coping, and they don't know
Right,
their
it's the
outlets.
easy way out.
So not just in heroin, but like lighter things like just
Right.
cannabis or
Weed and right.
PCP,
No, I was just saying
shrooms,
if I
every
started
substance.
out of the blue, say that I was sexually assaulted or something, and that trauma caused me to flip out, and then all of a sudden my norm is I smoke weed occasionally or whatever, and then all of a sudden now I'm shooting up on heroin. Of course, that's going to have an effect on my body and my mental state.
Can you touch my mother, please? You drive me.
So, of course, people
So
who
yeah,
develop
being
trauma
that
cope with
100%.
drugs.
No, that's what I'm saying. That trauma, that trauma
So
stems from various reasons and from various opticals that go on. Like it could be, the fact that, you knew
that's what I'm
somebody
doing. This phone. I'll
who
call her
got
afterwards.
their legs blown off at war, and you were friends with them, and something happened to them where they
Keep
didn't,
going.
they're not here with us no
Keep going.
more.
Keep going. 'Cause I'm not talking to her. Oh my god.
Well, like I said, it's how you deal with it too. Like a trauma that even if me and you and her went through the same trauma, it doesn't have to affect us all the same way.
No, it
It all
doesn't.
depends
Okay.
on what we're already going through, what stages of life we're in. If you have stability and some
Yeah.
kind of security, even with a trauma, you don't react that way because guess what? You're okay.
Right.
And
I mean, they
women,
say
that's what
you.
we look for in everything is security and stability. Even in partners, we would choose security and stability over love every day.
Mhm. Oh.
Oh man, the difficulties. I just got out of work. I'm trying to settle in, and a lot of things going on. But I
Sounds
like
like
everybody's blowing
everybody's
up
trying
my
to reach you
phone.
right
I'm like,
now.
what the hell is going on? And can things go right? I'm with you guys. Just continue. I'll be right with you.
Go ahead, take your time, sis. I got you. But yeah, like you know what I mean. Like
YouTube.
that.
Now,
That is
the
real.
audio gods.
That is real.
Streamlabs up toolbar.
It's real
Article.
because I mean
Landmark.
that kind of
Page
trauma.
1 of 9.
You find
Center
it
of
hard.
screen.
It's not as easy to get over.
Right.
And then they were already saying one of the things I read in here. It was saying that the symptoms usually start anywhere
Within
between
3 months and last a
within
year
three
or
months
more.
after or a
Right.
year or more. You know what I
Right. But a
mean?
year or
So
more is only ideal if you're not doing the proper steps to better yourself to be better mentally. PTSD
mhm.
is mental. So if you
Yes,
can't physically uplift your own body and mind to cope with it, then you're not going to.
yeah,
You
you're
decide
gonna
how
be drug
long you
into
have
it.
PTSD for.
It's gonna drag you in.
Right, hold on,
You're
hold
right.
on,
It
hold
will
on.
drag
All
you in.
right, I'm coming back in. I'm coming back in.
Okay.
I have to debate that. I have to debate that because I have been
Go for
through
it.
very, very traumatic experiences in my life of every sort. And I have been gone through 7 years of therapy and I still am battling. And it's not
Well, I'm
like you
not talking about
choose,
therapy.
you
I
don't,
said when you're mentally ready
yeah,
as
but
a
you're never
person, you
mentally
have to be
ready. You're never
mentally ready
mentally
to
ready.
cope with it.
Post-traumatic
You're,
stress disorder.
it's
Get
something
level
that
1 article.
Look, that's like saying like I want to ride a bike, but I never got on the bike to ride it, so I don't know. So it's not possible. Like when it comes to PTSD, everybody has a different way with dealing with it. It's actually like a syndrome you go through because of going through traumatic syndrome, because of something happening traumatic in your life. It's a crisis after crisis after crisis. Sometimes in some people's lives, that it basically after every crisis you have a timing to say to yourself, I have to recreate and I have to try to restructuralize after this crisis hit my mental stability
But
in a
it's
state
something
that I
you
can't deal with.
statistically heal from. It's something you statistically heal from. It's not a brain
Not all the
tumor.
time somebody
It's,
can.
he just read the statistics. Within 3 months to a year or
It
more,
says it starts
people
within 3
recover
months
from
to a year
PTSD.
without.
So it's not a cancer. It's not a tumor. It's not something incurable. When your mind is ready to cope with that trauma and get through it, that's when you get through it. Yes, maybe not everybody's time frame is the same, but eventually if you can mentally handle something and cope with it, you get over it.
Right. I've had the situation of I believe where
You
my
don't, you
trauma
don't,
came
you, I
from
don't
when I
think
was
that
a
you can,
teenager,
you can't get over
from
things
when
that
I first
happen.
seen
How do you
somebody
get over a
murdered.
rape?
I
How do
can't
you
get
get
over
over
the
a
thought
murder
of
like
it,
you've seen
but
in your
I
face?
still
How do you get
Right.
over
I've
anything?
been
You
a
don't get
victim of
over it.
rape, and I have pushed
So have I.
myself to the point where, that I'm mentally okay. I know it wasn't my fault. I know I had no control of the situation. There's certain things that I didn't have control of
But
that it happened. So I mentally prepared myself knowing that yes, I was a
okay, now
victim,
you
but
say
I'm not
okay, so
going to
you
be
so
a
you say
victim.
okay, that's two different things. Deciding to not be a victim anymore is one thing of actually growing towards healing from going through PTSD and trauma. But you cannot say that you're completely healed from the process of what happened. If when
right.
you have constant there's something called running thoughts. Some people need medication for it. You could be Let me tell you, I have PTSD to the point where if I hear a glass crack sometimes, I could be in the middle of a seminar, in a managerial seminar, and literally have a flashback right there in that moment. And I have to grab myself back to
Mm.
being in reality, because it's not something that it heals that easily. It never truly
I
heals.
didn't say that
There
it
are
was
From
certain
it heals
triggers.
molestation
that
to rape
easily.
to
I just
abuse.
said eventually when you can mentally cope with it, you do. That's what your
Well, not
brain is
everybody.
wired to do.
All it is when you can mentally cope, you can actually continue your life and try your best not to be affected by what happened through the years.
Hmm.
You cannot all the way say, I'm healed, I'm done, like I'm not worried about what happened. Because at the end of the day, there will be something
Right,
in your
but it
life that
doesn't
somebody
affect.
will
It
see
said that
and
the
it'll
symptoms are where
react
you
to it.
can't work and it affects you to the point where it's like crippling your
Right?
It
behavior.
affects your
That's not true.
Your
relationship and
That's not
regular
true.
your
behavior. So if
yeah.
I'm mentally okay to live my life because I've dealt with it, then how can I claim I have PTSD if it's not affecting my work or my social
Because
behaviors?
it's still
Because
get
it
do you still
doesn't.
get panic attacks? Do you still get panic attacks? Have you ever gotten one? Do you know what a
Yes,
panic
but
attack
I
feels
don't
like?
let it define
Okay, but
tomorrow. If
do
I had
you
a
still
panic
get it?
attack, I would still go to work. I would
But
still take care of my
do
kids.
you still get panic attacks?
I haven't had one in a very long time.
But if you still get panic attacks, that's what I mean by PTSD never goes away.
I think maybe if I was in front of the person or like in a situation like that, maybe, but
Do
nothing
you ever
triggers
meet
me like
somebody that
that.
reminds you of that person? You ever been somewhere and you meet somebody that just their culture or their characteristics remind you of that person, and you feel nervous in your body, like you have to
No,
get away
because
from that person?
I don't,
Like you've never
I
been in
don't
a
judge
job that
people
had
like
like a
that.
client that you've never had a chance with a client that you were working with at one time, whatever you do for a living, and they all of a sudden like said something that triggered a thought of something you went through before in the past?
Yeah, but not enough for it
That's
to
the
make me
that's
mentally
that's it
break.
right there. That's what I mean by
No, because
that's
that's
what I'm
what it is.
saying. What I'm saying is
Yes, maybe
it's
something
still
triggers
affecting you.
something, but it's how I react to
It's
it.
an
That's
ongoing.
what
It's
causes PTSD, the reaction you get
Mm.
from the trigger.
no, because you can actually have a complete nervous breakdown and uncontrollable
Exactly, the
without even
reaction to the
anticipating.
trigger.
Without
You just said
anticipating it, you
exactly
can.
what I did.
Yeah, but
If
you can
something
do it
triggers
without
me and I have
anticipating
a
it.
nervous
It can
breakdown,
happen.
that's how I react.
So in generalization, not everybody's like you. Not everybody
No,
is like you. There's
everybody's not
people
gonna react
suffering.
the same.
Right, that's what I
Exactly.
said.
Nobody's
Not
gonna
everybody's going to
react
react
the
the
same
same
on
way, but that's the whole point of PTSD. It's
Yeah,
how
but
you
it's not to say
react.
just get over it. You
It
can't just
is
say
how
See,
you
everybody
I
with
react.
didn't say
PTSD get
just get
over it.
over it, but when you do not physically react or mentally react to something to make it affect your life, then it no longer has an effect on your life.
So
Like you're
now we're
saying,
talking about
if something triggered me and I had a nervous breakdown, that's how I react to the situation. But if something triggers me and I just have a thought about it, but I don't react, that means I'm mentally able to cope with it
but that's part
because
of the
I
healing
didn't have a
process.
reaction.
But that is exactly what we're talking about today, how to cope with PTSD. We're not talking about it,
Right.
just get over it, everybody, because nobody
No,
gets over it.
I didn't say just get over it. I just said once you can mentally prepare
Cope with it.
yourself, that's when you start getting over it. Mentally, it's all mental.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody ever gets over it, to be honest. I don't think there's one person that has been through a
It is a
traumatic
hard
event
process.
that
It
they will
really
I
forget
don't
it in
think
10
you
years
get
from
over
now.
it, but I think you learn how to, where things don't trigger you to react.
Yeah.
I
And
think
as
that
long
we,
as you're
Look,
not
I've been
reacting to
in
it
this
like a
position.
fool, then you're living your life.
yeah, but it's not
Everything can
really
give
like
you a
there's some people
flashback.
but there's people out there that just
Do you
have
have
a harder
flashbacks of the
time.
day that your kids were born or birthday parties? It's how you react to them positively. It doesn't,
So
every
now we're
memory and
talking about
every
something else. Now
emotion
you're
can
talking
cause a
about
reaction.
that's what I meant by recreate and then recontrol yourself and recontrol your atmosphere. It's not
Right.
something that it's that's part of the conversation. But the wording, you have to be careful with the wording because we are live on a live stream and there are people that are hurting and looking for answers. And when you talk about things like PTSD, it's very touchy and it's very sensitive. You don't want anybody to attack the PZ show because it seems like we're inconsiderate and sympathetic of their emotions. So that's part of being on live, that you have to be careful with the wording that you choose because there's a lot of people that tune in because they're trying to get information and education out of it and not want to feel badgered. Like, you know how many times people tell me you should get over that or that
I
already
did
happened
not
to you
say
or
that to
you
you one
anticipated
time.
it?
You can play this show
Well, what
back.
I'm saying,
I did not say get
that,
over it one time.
but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you don't know how people are going to interpret your words.
Because I said that it's all mental. Everybody deals with things differently.
And
It's
then they
all
could get
how you
over it.
decide to cope with it. What is your
Yeah, but
trigger?
the part
So
of get
tell me
over
when
it
I
is
said that was wrong
just the whole get
or
over it is
offensive to
never
anybody.
happen. Or it's gonna go away and you can just live your life. You can never live
No,
your
I
life
did not.
normal
I
again.
said his statistics said within 3 months to a year or more. So that
From
means
a
it's something
traumatic
you can
incident.
heal from.
But
If they're
that's what
saying
they're saying. They said that
statistically,
it starts.
you get over
the
it.
symptoms start. The symptoms start within 3 months to a year, up to a year, before the symptoms actually start. So they said after the traumatic incident, 3 months within 3 months to
No, it said
a
you
year,
have
up to a
symptoms
year or more.
within 3 months to a year.
Well, listen, statistics are not the ones that are being affected by the PTSD. The actual events are creating an atmosphere of uncomfortability and psychological dysfunctions within people that they are turning around their lives and either deciding to fight against it like a warrior or to actually give into it and go into narcissistic traits or learn into manipulation to people. You're going to join them or you're going to go against them. So that's what happens. Then they end up from that point becoming into drug abuse, sex addicts. So we have a lot of things going on in America because people don't want to face themselves. Nobody wants to look in the mirror. And when nobody wants to say, this is me, this is what I need to do. And it's time to
This is what
recreate
I've
and it's
been
time to give
through. It's
change.
time to,
Right.
exactly. Agreed. And that's all I was saying.
Absolutely.
It's a mental thing for each person because we all could have went through the same trauma today and it wouldn't affect all of us the same way.
Everybody's completely different.
Right.
I've actually
Completely different. You're right.
been When I was in New York City, when I was in Brooklyn years ago, when things happened to me, I had endured the 7 years of therapy, and then I didn't do medication. What I did was I started going back. And I went back to the facility for human trafficking for young ladies, and I went back for the rape coaching program that they had for the young women that were underage. And I was able to sit and go through seminars and actually sit and learn what it is and how to help people while you're helping yourself and healing at the same time. There's big organizations involved when you're talking about these particular things that's going on in America that is constant. So it's not something that you want to throw around and say, you know, we could just get over this, or we can just try to better ourselves. The betterment of yourself, it consists of really how you are going to recreate yourself, reconstruct her. You know, sometimes people need to get a book and they need to write down their goals within the next 3 months and stick to that. And then every time they have an episode of some sort, whether it's waking up out of a cold sweat dream and about the person, a very vivid dream, like the person's in front of you, which still happens to me. And sometimes you have to count down. There's 5 senses that you have that you're capable to use to control your PTSD symptoms. You can actually sense of touch. Some people, when you have those theories and it's in your mind and you feel the shakes or you feel it coming on and you're feeling you're about to have a heart attack or you can't breathe, best thing you could do is start counting down, start realizing the situation is not happening at the moment. Continuously tell yourself, it's not right now, it doesn't exist, it doesn't happen anymore. And then you definitely want to start
it's all mental.
It's all emotional, mental, and it becomes physical when you get sick from it.
It's all
I would
mental.
say a mental and emotional mixture.
And
emotions are just your brain telling your body how to react. It's all
your
mental.
anxiety is an emotion in many ways. So we're looking at the fact that when you hallucinate, or for that matter, have some sort of visual that is the trigger that disturbs you, your anxiety is your emotion that causes you to heighten your senses, or your paranoia or your fear kicks in. And you tend to have to find a way to either suppress that stuff or deal with it. And most people don't have the full instructions on how to cope with these issues, which is why post-traumatic stress disorder,
I know a lot about post-traumatic stress
and found in other people outside of just the average veterans who experience.
I'm a registered nurse and have VA home clients. I know what they happen.
It depends. What type of a nurse are you? Like, what type of nurse are you?
I'm a registered nurse.
Yeah, I know.
I do
prosthetics.
Right, I do prosthetics. I do geriatrics.
Yeah, but that's not psychological. That's not emotional. That's two different fields.
I just said I've seen people deal with it. Many people deal with it.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that even being a nurse, like my sister's a nurse as well, right? She's a traveling nurse and she works inside the ORMC hospital here in Orlando. But still, even she would tell you, and she graduated with honors, she would still tell you it doesn't make you understand it. You understand?
No, I never said I understand it, but I watch people get through it.
If you're a psychological nurse and you work in a psychiatric unit, I would understand completely respecting every response.
You still watch people get through it. I've seen people with their whole right side blown off and still get prosthetic limbs and raise families and live happy lives even after what happened. Do you think they ever get over it? No. But do they put that imprint on their kids or their house? No, because it's not affecting them to the point where it affects their natural living. Because they have mentally coped with what has happened to them. It has to be where you're mentally able to cope with it. Mentally, emotionally, whatever you want to cope with, but whatever. Mentally, you have to be able to be like, this is what happened to me, you know? And if you're working and doing all that, you know, you're living basically normal as well. So your PTSD is not crippling. PTSD, I've seen people who can't get out of bed because, you know, something happened to them. They don't speak. They don't move. They can't go out in public. Loud noises triggers them to hide. Like, that's a severe case of PTSD that affects somebody's life.
So then you understand that there's different levels of PTSD and there's different syndromes that go through everybody then. So you can.
And we were talking about that as well, weren't we, Marvin?
You can't generalize it. So,
I said
moving
it's
on
not
from
just
that, though.
basic syndrome where you can classify everybody in one group because everybody deals with everything differently.
Right.
Yeah,
And there are
like
variations
musicians.
that could be
There has to
mild
be
and moderate or even
sexual
severe
assault,
cases. So
PTSD,
they
like
all go
that
into
has to be in
different
a certain
categories if you think
category.
about it.
And domestic
Yes.
violence, like that, sex trafficking, you know what I'm saying? It all needs veterans. There's different
levels
classes
and there's
of it
different type
that
of
affects
things.
different people.
Yeah, there's different levels and different kind of things and different ways of handling
Right.
each
A
individual
different way
situation.
people mentally cope with things.
Yeah, but I thought the show was supposed to be about musicians and PTSD and how can they use their music to actually
That's not
progress
what he
with
told
their.
me.
Well,
He
That's
just
that
what I
was the
said,
told
whole
mine.
thing
what
in a
was the
sense because
symptoms
the
of
show because
PTSD
we're
and how
artists. So
it
in
affects
any case,
people.
that no, babe, let me just say this though. So at this point, I agree with what Relly just said because of the fact that I may not have informed you, but most of the people that join the show here to talk with us, there are artists in the
All
making,
musicians,
or they're
artists
artists
that are listening.
on their own path. So
Right, but you didn't say
PTSD
how it
is
affects musicians. You said how it affects people. And if this is a
people in yeah, but
wide
we're trying to
broadcast,
bring it
right?
to a
So it
general
should
census
be
too.
general, right? So
Right, we're
I
trying to
just
keep it in
figured
the
it's
general
people in
census because
general. Remember,
PTSD
it's
does.
alive.
PTSD does affect people in a way where it
And
does
you didn't statistically prove
vary.
anything about musicians. Your statistics were about veterans and general civilians in poor neighborhoods in the hood. It wasn't
Right.
statistics about musicians who end up with PTSD or how
And
musicians handle PTSD.
a lot of the musicians that you know deal with that may even have PTSD have that coping mechanism as well. But most of them don't think about their coping mechanism because the coping mechanism that they have is the music that they make. It's creation of thoughts and being able to take your mind off of the music or on
Not a big
put your
deal.
mind on the music by
Okay, that's it.
coping
I know.
in different ways. Now, what were you going to say, Relly?
On it. There is nothing in your music library.
Her camera went off again.
Oh, she might have just got bumped out again.
Skip to main content. In page link.
I thought it was just general people. My bad.
No, you're all right. I did not fully inform.
And all the statistics were about veterans and stuff. It wasn't about music. So I just thought it was a general live.
Yeah, I should have informed you that in most cases we have a lot of the conversations where the bulk of these conversations are directly talking to artists about some of these situations because there are a lot of
Well, then you should just broadcast your show for musicians, like on music pages, then not for the general public.
yeah, YouTube is a general platform.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You should make your audience just that. Even Facebook, you post it on your regular,
I put them in a different category when I think about it.
Like I know Monday, Wednesday, and Friday you do music, but
right.
Tuesday and Thursday, I thought those were open topics for whoever wants to join you. I didn't know it had to be music related.
Well, it doesn't
last week we talked about relationships.
In many cases, an artist is a person too, so they deal with everyday life as well as we do. So in many cases, it does generalize the situation, but in specifics, when we use like specific cases,
do you get more musicians that view your show or more generalized people?
It's shuffled out. It's sometimes majority of the people.
So when you target it for everybody,
yeah, but my target is for everybody.
Right. So when it just be a generalized question, not basic, just to musicians
around everybody. Yep.
Except for today. Oh, it's just about musicians today.
In a sense, no. We shuffle topic talks. So this particular topic in conversation, that last part of it being about artists, I didn't realize she wanted it to be about artists in the topic because I normally make Topic Tuesday talks about general conversations. So it's just a general conversation in a sense. But it does reflect the conversation for artists as well.
Yeah, but I believe artists, like real artists, like you said, their outlook is their music. That's why their songs are so hardcore or so
Right. Or
emotional or
deeply
intense.
felt.
Like when you hear the song, you feel something.
Yeah,
Right.
I
So I feel
agree.
like a lot of them already have a coping mechanism just in that.
Right. And I
And then
mean,
a
in
lot of them
most
aren't worried
cases,
about when they were being victimized because it's all about the hustle in the music. Because
mm,
even when you were struggling and going through everything, you weren't looking at yourself as a this is traumatic. What do I need to do to get out of here? What do I need to do to better myself? What do I need to get my
mm,
mental right so that I'm not on the streets or homeless or da 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 whatever? You know what I'm saying? I feel
I
like
agree.
musicians have that grind.
Mm,
How
that
many
is
nights did
true.
we stay up so that you could record 12 songs and put them on a fucking CD so you could
CD.
hand them out to everybody the next day so everybody had a sample
Right.
of what you had? I just feel like
True.
it's mental. It's like where you want to see yourself. Because
Mm-hmm.
our situation alone could have like made me crumble.
Right.
But
I
mentally,
agree.
I was able to cope with it. It doesn't, I mean, does it affect me? Yes. But do I let it overrun everything else I have going on? No, because if I do, how good am I for my kids? How good am I for the
Right.
people around me? How good am I for anybody who depends on me for anything?
Mm. And that
So,
does
since
make a
I
lot of
was
sense.
mentally able to cope with it and be like, okay, yeah, this is fucked up, but this isn't going to define who I am.
Right.
And then guess what? You
Bingo.
just keep it moving. Just like
Right.
the
You're
rape
right.
thing or the whatever. I'm sorry if you're not supposed to say that, but okay, it happened. Did it mess me up for a hot minute? Yes, but eventually I was able to mentally cope with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame myself. And yes, if something triggers me out, like if I see somebody that looks like him or maybe even the smell of his cologne or whatever, do I have like a little flashback in my mind? Yes, but it's not to the point where I'm hiding under
Press
something,
circle.
hyperventilating, trying to escape from where I'm
Mm-hmm.
at. No, I just walk the other way and keep it moving.
Microphone.
Right. Right. Right.
And that's exactly what
All
I was
right.
saying in the thing that you said. It said that you only can be diagnosed with it is if it's actually affecting your life.
Mm.
It
That's
affects your
good.
work. It affects your
That's
daily
good.
living. It affects your social behavior. If you're out there working, socializing, hanging out, you're mentally coping with whatever's going on because you're not hiding under the table. Do you know how many
Mm-hmm.
Vietnam vets I've seen literally hear fireworks and hide underneath something?
Yeah. That is true. I
Like
still get
that is a
paranoid
trigger
around
that
Fourth of
affects
July. I
you
don't
where
really play that shit.
you can't
I
hear
don't even
like
like being
you
outside.
can't hear loud things because you can't see where it's coming from.
Right. And I don't like
You
being
don't know if
outside
it's
because I done been
guns
in the
or fire,
hood. I
right?
done
You don't
had
know
people
what it is.
shooting on me. I done had shots fired around me, and that doesn't feel this. It's too much of a trauma push.
Right, but before you lost your vision, had you coped with the firework thing, you could go to the fireworks, right?
I had no problems with the fireworks when I could
Right.
see it all.
So now it's a different situation and now your brain has to mentally cope
Absolutely.
with it again.
You're right. Absolutely right. Yeah. Well, this has been a fruitful endeavor here. I'm appreciative of this conversation because it really just gave us some time to get into this topic. Because, in a general sense, PTSD very much destroys a person's life if they don't handle it the right way. And it aren't many people, who are mentally able to cope with these things or to find a coping mechanism. So honestly, truthfully, one of my things to say, and I think the one thing I will say before we get ready to tune up out of here is just make sure you protect yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually, because you need those three to be intact in order to find that coping mechanism. It doesn't hurt to have a good friend next to you to actually talk you through some things and maybe even help you to develop a treatment process for you to help you cope with these things or to find a coping mechanism. So with that being said, I wish everybody that tunes in and catches this recap a wonderful Tuesday night. Happy Tuesday. And I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Even you. I appreciate you, Love, for tuning in with me tonight. Relly, my homie, for tuning in with us. The conversation was live, so y'all check it out.
Can you tell Joel said
Face.
Okay.
Let's go. Come on. Yeah. You know what time it is. Grab your camera phones and your device. Kick off your shoes and grab yourself some popcorn, baby. 'Cause the Peasy Show is online Monday through Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern, baby. Grab your camera phones and your device. Kick off your shoes, grab yourself some popcorn, baby. 'Cause the Peasy Show is online, so come chill with us. We sure gon' have a good time, baby. We got the vibe. Welcome to my room. Yes, I'm blind. Monday, Saturday live. East Coast time. Yeah. We on the rise. Choose, enjoy the ride. What we can do is motivate minds like Motivation Monday.